Namaste everyone. Welcome to another book reading session of Navavimarsh. So today again we have with us Shekhar, who will be reading. He will continue his reading of the book Maharanas. So you can see the book is available in English and Hindi, both the languages. So, and we have also a special announcement for people. Like these are the signed copies that we got from the author when I met the author in Jaipur. So during the reading sessions, one of the lucky viewers who have subscribed to our channel and made some comments, some observations regarding our book reading session would get a complimentary copy from our end. So you can choose from Hindi or English, whichever you like, and we will send you the copy via post. So do watch out. Do share your feedback and comments on the comment section of our reading session, and we will reward you with a signed copy of the author itself. So, Namaste Shekhar.
नमस्ते सबको और आपको भी
नमस्ते. तो आज हम लोग चैप्टर 4 पढ़ने वाले हैं.
हाँ जो फेमस वो मूवी बनी थी ना पद्मावत वो आई थिंक उस पे ये चैप्टर है. मतलब पिक्चर नहीं, उसमें पिक्चर में जो थोड़ा बहुत डिस्क्राइब किया था जो इंस्टेंसेस है वो आपको इसके अंदर इस चैप्टर के अंदर उनके बारे में पूरी अच्छे से पूरी तरह से पता चलेगा कि क्या सिचुएशंस था और क्या सर्कमस्टेंसेस की वजह से ये सब हुआ था और क्या हुआ था एक्चुअली में. क्योंकि मूवी में भी जो इन्वेडर है उसको काफी एक तरह से जस्टिफाई किया, मतलब करने की कोशिश की गई थी उसमें.
Understood. Okay, to the audience, is the text visible to everybody, or shall we reduce the font or increase the font? Do let us know. Is the font visible to everybody? So we want you to actually read along with us. So that makes sense. Okay, Shekhar, go ahead with the reading. Okay.
Yes. Rawal Ratan Singh, Maharani Padmini, Assault of Khilji, and the first Shakha Johar. Rawal Ratan Singh was the son of Rawal Samar Singh, who himself was an exceptional king. Much has been written and speculated about this era of Ratan Singh because of his beautiful wife Padmini and Alauddin Khilji's lustful efforts to woo the Queen of Mewar, resulting in the first siege and Johar Saka of Chittor. A lot of confusion around this era springs out of relying on the poetic leverages of Malik Muhammad Jayasi, who penned an imaginary ballad around Ratan Singh and Padmini, but historically Jayasi's account is unreliable. Hence, it is being quoted only to dispel some myths around Rani Padmini and Ratan Singh. I think यहाँ पे जो लास्ट में जो हमें बताते हैं ना मूवी के अंदर, तो उसका डिस्कशन हो रहा है जो शाखा जोहर, उसमें भी आई थिंक ये लोग जो नेग्लेक्ट कर देते हैं ना, जो शाखा जोहर होता है उसके अंदर ये लोग हमेशा जौहर की बात करते हैं, शाखा की बात नहीं करते हैं. जो होता है ना ये मेल और फीमेल दोनों करते हैं, हस्बैंड वाइफ होता है ना, वो दोनों करते हैं, खाली वाइफ्स नहीं करते हैं. तो ये लोग उसको भी आई थिंक इग्नोर कर देते हैं, जो मेल जो सैक्रिफाइस होता है ना इसके अंदर उसको. तो वो है. और आई थिंक ये काफी इसके अंदर जो आई थिंक जो एक तरह से प्रोपेगेंडा जो होता है ना उसके अंदर ज्यादा डीलिंग है ना, ये जो पोएट जो इसने लिखा था ना मलिक मोहम्मद, तो इसके ऊपर ज्यादा रिलाई किया जाता है. ये रिलायबल है नहीं पर इसके ऊपर रिलाई किया जाता है. जैसे कि औरंगजेब है तो उसके ऊपर जो उसने कोई कुछ चीज पेंट की होगी ना, तो उसके ऊपर रिलाई किया जाएगा रेदर देन कि जो उनके ऑपोजिशंस हैं उनको भी व्यू में नहीं लिया जाता है. तो सेम चीज है यहाँ पे भी होती है कि जो इन्वेडर है ना उनके ये तो पोएट था, तो इसमें तो ज्यादा इसने इमेजिनेशन का ज्यादा यूज किया गया. ये तो हिस्टोरिकल राइटर भी नहीं था, तो इसकी वैलिडिटी बहुत ही कम हो जाती है.
बिल्कुल। तो एक चीज तुम बोल रहे हो कि
हम्म,
द साका जौहर was not only was acted by women but also by men as well.
हाँ हाँ, क्योंकि जो जौहर होता था ना वो ही करते थे,
Hmm.
वुमेन शाखा होता था ना,
Hmm.
तो
Hmm.
वो जो है वो मेल करते थे हमेशा। जैसे कोई सिचुएशन, जैसे चित्तौड़ के इंस्टेंस में ले लेते हैं कि
Hmm.
इंस ऐसा टाइम आता है कि वो मेल जो है वो लड़ रहे हैं उसको, और
Hmm.
उनको एक पॉइंट आता है कि पता चलता है कि ये लोग अब नहीं जीत सकते। जो अंदर
Hmm.
फोर्ट के अंदर है, वो लोग इन्वेडर्स को नहीं हरा सकते या फोर्ट को ज्यादा देर तक होल्ड नहीं कर सकते। तो वो क्या करते हैं कि जो फीमेल्स होती हैं वो जौहर करती हैं, वो अपने आप को जला लेते हैं, ठीक है। तो जो मेल होते हैं वो क्या करते हैं, जब वो उनका हो जाता है ये जो सैक्रिफाइस वो करते हैं फीमेल्स, तो वो उनकी जो एशेज होती हैं वो अपने बॉडी पे लगा के फिर मारने जाते हैं, कि वो लास्ट स्टैंड एक टाइप का हो जाता है उसके अंदर। क्योंकि वो फिर
Hmm.
क्योंकि उन्होंने सब कुछ हार चुके हैं ना, उनकी जो फैमिली होती है वो पूरी तरह से मर चुके होते हैं। फिर तो अदर हाफ है वो तो सैक्रिफाइस हो जाता है। तो ये अब जितने ज्यादा मार सके ना लास्ट स्टैंड के अंदर, ये उतना ज्यादा मारना चाहते हैं ना, तो इसके लिए ये लोग फिर वो जो एशेज होते हैं और उनके सेक्रीफाइस को वेस्ट नहीं करने नहीं देना चाहते, इसलिए लोग वो उनको और सम्मान देने के लिए वो लोग अपने ऊपर एशेज लगाते हैं उनके जो डेड वंस हैं, और फिर लास्ट एंड के लिए बाहर जाते हैं किले को खोल के। वो अंदर नहीं रहते, फिर डिफेंड नहीं कर रहे होते, वो अटैक करते हैं। तो
Hmm.
ये जो होता
Got
है
it.
इसके अंदर जो मेल सेक्शन है वो पूरा ये लोग खत्म कर देते हैं, उसको बताते ही नहीं है। क्योंकि उसके अंदर फिर कुछ मिलता नहीं ना फिर। यहाँ पे फिर वो आ
Hmm.
जाता है ना कि मेल और फीमेल का वो जो एक दूसरे के लिए रिस्पेक्ट और कंपैशन दिखता है, और सेल्फ सेल्फ सेक्रीफाइस दिखता है कि वो सोसाइटी के लिए कर रहे हैं या एक दूसरे के लिए जो भी कर रहे हैं। तो वो फिर
Hmm.
नैरेटिव में नहीं फिट बैठता ना, इसलिए।
Bilkul. Yeah, I think that's a very important point that Shekhar has, because even like we don't know everything that we have heard of. So this Saka Johar, the word Saka and Johar. So Johar is for women and Saka Johar is for men and women both. Okay.
हम्म,
So this kind of stories we will only learn when we read the books. Okay. So that's very important because watching videos, watching interviews can give you a lot of understanding. But when you read the text, the book which has all the details, it can illuminate you with a lot of understanding of the same thing that we may have ignored or may have been omitted while making a video or a short video, or an interview, because you cannot everything. So that is something which is important. So that's why we encourage all our listeners to actually go ahead and buy the book, the physical book, or the soft copy of it, so that you can get the full understanding and extent of the story told, or the historiography told by the authors. So this is something which is important, and it should be made that as correct. I have bought the books, I have read the book. Shekhar has the book. Shekhar has read the books. So it's important for people to actually go ahead and buy the book. So as you can see, here is the maharanas.com, where you can go and you will able to buy the book, the soft copy, the English version or the Hindi version, whichever you like, and read it.
हम्म। इसमें ऑथर जो है उसको भी सपोर्ट मिलता है ना, कि ताकि वो एनकरेजमेंट मिलता है कि वो और ज्यादा इनके ऊपर रिसर्च करे और लिखे। क्योंकि अगर ऑथर्स को
Exactly,
कुछ बेनिफिट्स नहीं मिलेंगे तो फिर क्यों लिखेंगे वो। ठीक है, फिर आप
exactly.
फिर लोग बोलेंगे कि हमारी हिस्ट्री बराबर नहीं लिखी है। लिखने जो लिखेंगे उनको पैसे नहीं मिलेंगे तो क्यों लिखेंगे वो। ठीक है ना, तो फिर जो जिनको मजा आ रहा है नैरेटिव बनाने में वही लिखेंगे फिर। इसलिए
Bilkul,
हमें
bilkul.
सपोर्ट करना
So
जरूरी है बहुत।
Bilkul, bilkul. So that's why we have bought around few copies. So we have distributed a few copies, and I have few copies which I will distribute free of cost to the our subscribers. But subscribers who can buy the book, who want to read the book, we encourage everybody to go and buy the book. These are the links. Just type maharanas.com. The link is also is there in the in the description of the video. The Amazon link as well as the author's own link, so you can go ahead and buy it. Now we will go back to our reading.
Hmm. Firstly, there is no queen by the name of Padmavati. It is a fictional character Jyasi created for his work. Abide inspired by Rani Padmini. Hence, all efforts and designs to refer to the great queen of Chittor, Rani Padmini, as Padmavati must be refuted. An imaginary person cannot be allowed to replace one of the greatest queens of Hindu history, as she made one of the greatest sacrifices for her honor and dharma. Secondly, Jayasi pinned Padmavati a good 250 years after the actual siege of Chittor. Hence, his poetic work cannot be a basis for a historical recreation of event at that time. तो आई थिंक ये तो इन्होंने काफी सही बताया कि क्योंकि जो एक्चुअल हिस्टोरियंस होते हैं वो उसी टाइम पे लिखते हैं जो 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 अर्ली अरब हिस्टोरियंस मिलते हैं हमें जो कि ये लोग इन्वेडर्स के साथ में आए थे तो वो लोग जो
हम्म।
थे उनके साथ में थे तो क्या कि वो जो उन्होंने एक्सपीरियंस किया है ना तो लिख सकते तो हम उनका वैलिडिटी को चेक हम रिलायबल मान सकते हैं अब इनके केस में क्या है कि ये एक तो उनके पास सोर्सेज नहीं थे ठीक है उनके पास सोर्स होंगे कैसे क्योंकि ये तो सारे बारबेरियंस थे तो रिकॉर्ड्स तो रखते नहीं थे तो आई थिंक फिर किस चीज पे इन क्या सोर्स से इन्होंने ये लिखा है वो भी एक डाउटफुल चीज बन जाती है
बिल्कुल।
हम्म
और एक और चीज है कि मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि उस टाइम पे लिखा होना चाहिए, पर उसके आसपास, मतलब जैसे कि अगर घटना
हम्म
घटी है उसके अगर 10 10 साल 20 साल बाद अगर कोई लिख दे तो वो दैट इज कंसिडर कि हाँ भाई
हाँ
ठीक है। हाँ, ऐसा नहीं कि
50
उस टाइम
साल
पे
भी ठीक
लोग
है
लिखे। हाँ,
हाँ
पर 200 250 साल बाद लिखना। और वैसे भी बहुत सारे इंपॉर्टेंट लोग होते थे जो राजा महाराजा थे या इंपॉर्टेंट लोग थे। वो
हम्म
लोग अपना एक मतलब एक ऐसा लोग साथ में होते थे जो उनकी हिस्ट्री रिकॉर्ड करता था। इट वाज काइंड ऑफ अ
हम्म
प्रोफेशन फॉर देम।
हाँ हाँ
तो ऐसा ऐसा नहीं है
हाँ
कि बिकॉज जो भी राजा था, जो भी वहाँ घटनाएं हो रही थी, वो उसी तरह से
हम्म
रिकॉर्ड हो रही थी। उस तरह से उसको फिर मंदिरों
हम्म
में या कुछ और तरीकों से दे वुड एक्चुअली डिसमिनेट। तो वो तो ऐसा नहीं
हाँ
कि वो अवेलेबल नहीं होती है।
हाँ तो फोकलोर में ट्रांसफर कर देते थे उसको जैसे हमारे में यहाँ पे होता है ना कि लेजेंड्स बन जाते हैं तो वो लेजेंड्स में ट्रांसफर हो जाता है वो जो हीरोज और हीरोइंस होती है ना वो हमारे पास टाइम्स
हम्म।
की क्वीन
हम्म।
किंग्स और क्वींस की अगर वो बहुत हीरोइक ड्यूटी अपनी धर्म को डिफाइन करता है या हीरोइक उनका नेचर होता है या उन्होंने बहुत कुछ हीरोइक फीचर्स या उनके जो टैलेंट्स हैं वो हैं तो वो उनको डिस्क्राइब करते हैं फोकलोर में उनकी एक तरह से लेजेंड बना देते हैं उनके आजू बाजू तो आप उनसे भी
बिल्कुल।
आगे फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हैं स्टोरी को अगर वो भी कुछ हद तक रिलायबल होता है पर ये तो बिल्कुल ही रिलायबल नहीं है
बिल्कुल, लेट्स गो हेड।
Hmm. Alauddin Khilji was born in 1267 and was raised by his uncle Jalaluddin, who ruled over a small area around Delhi. Jalaluddin started his career as an officer in the Mamluk or the slave dynasty and took over control after the death of the last slave ruler, Muizuddin Kaibak, Kaidabad. Mhm. Jalaluddin was 70 years old at the time of his accession. His daughter was married to Alauddin. Alauddin murdered Jalaluddin and took control of Delhi in 1296 when he started destroying Hindu kingdoms in North India. He was single-handedly responsible for putting an end to several Hindu dynasties, including the Parmars, Vakilas, Chauhans, and also the Ravals of Mewar. His infamous NH slave general Malik Kafur was the first Muslim general to cross over the Vindhyas and wreak havoc on the southern Indian kingdoms of Yadavas, Kakatiyas, and Hoysalas. Kafur was born a Hindu but was purchased as a slave by Alauddin's general Nusrat Khan in 1299. We will restrict ourselves to destruction caused by Alauddin in Rajasthan to Ranthambore and Chittor. In 1297, the two of the Alauddin's best general, Ulugh Khan and Nusrat Khan, looted and plundered Rudra Mahayala and Somnath temple and rushed to carry the broken pieces of Shivalingam to Alauddin. The Jalore prince Kanhat Dev Songara, assisted by a neo-Muslim convert, Muhammad Khan, confronted and defeated Khilji's army. Kandev Khanhat Dev installed the broken Shivalingam at the five temples in Prabhas Patan, Bhagada, Abu Jalor, and his personal garden. Kahadev Kahadev fell out with Muhammad Khan and his soldiers because they consumed beef, and Muhammad Shah, with another general, Kabru, approached Hamir Dev to seek refuge from Alauddin. Hamir provided them with shelter with the intent of using them against Alauddin. Alauddin laid siege on the Ranthambore fort of Rajasthan and eventually seized it in 1301. आई थिंक एक इंटरेस्टिंग बिट रणथंभौर में आपको ये भी है कि जो मुझे पता नहीं ये कितना डिस्कस किया जाता है पर वहां पे मंगोल्स भी थे उस टाइम पता है आपको ये चीज
मंगोल
जो
थे।
हाँ जो रणथंभौर में जो आई थिंक ये उस टाइम पीक पे था कि जो मंगोल्स थे ना वो हर जगह इन्वेड कर रहे थे तो हुआ ये था कि ये एक्चुअली में जो डायनेस्टीज थी ना दिल्ली की जो स्लेव्स वाली ये सारे टर्किक थे ठीक है ना नेचर में और वैसे भी रियल में भी तो ये मंगोल्स थे ना ये टर्क को फिनिश करने आए थे ठीक है जहां जहां टर्किक ये लोग थे ना ये क्योंकि मंगोल्स जो थे ना वो टर्क्स को स्लेव मानते थे ठीक है उनके हिसाब से टर्क्स कभी उससे ऊपर नहीं हो सकते थे तो ये क्या इंडिया के अंदर आने के लिए इन लोगों ने क्या किया हिंदू किंग्स जो थे ना यहाँ पे उनका साथ देना चालू किया था उनको फेवर करना चालू किया था तो ये हिंदू किंग्स के साइड से फाइट कर रहे थे मंगोल्स जो थे ना पर ये ज्यादा नंबर्स में नहीं आ रहे थे प्रॉब्लम ये थी कि अगर ये ज्यादा नंबर में आते ना तो ये टर्क्स कुछ भी नहीं कर पाते यहाँ पे तो ये बहुत ही कम थे पर इनका एक यूनिट था रणथंभौर में और ये कुछ आई थिंक मैं कितना हिस्टोरिकली रिलायबल है वो मुझे पता नहीं है पर ये इंसिडेंट माना जाता है कि जब ये रणथंभौर लिया गया था ना इनसे राजपूत से तो वहां पे जो मंगोल जो यूनिट थी उसका जो लीडर था ना उसको बुलाया गया था टर्क्स के सामने और बोला था कि तुम मुझे ज्वाइन करो ऐसा करके तो उसने मना कर दिया था कि मैं स्लेव्स को ज्वाइन नहीं करूंगा कभी तुम स्लेव्स हो तुम स्लेव्स ही रहोगे और फिर उसको मार दिया गया था ये इंसिडेंट है काफी फेमस जहां तक मैं मानता हूँ
अच्छा, हमारे साथ नीनर जुड़े हैं। नीनर, आपको कुछ कहना है?
Stay Dada.
नमस्ते।
So I wanted to say that he is correct. Something like this happened. I think there was a small captured army of Mongols, and first Alauddin Khilji tried to make them part of his army, but they rebelled and they went to Ranthambore, where the Rajputs took them, gave them shelter, and from there they fought against them.
Understood. Cool. Okay.
Actually, the Mongols had, I think, just recently converted to Islam. At that time, they were before that, just before being captured by Delhi Sultanate, they were not Muslims.
Yeah, it's an interesting info that Shekhar has given. Okay, Shekhar, go ahead.
Most of the historical accounts talk of the victory of Alauddin over the then Chauhan rulers of Ranthambore, Hamir Dev Chauhan, but the local folklore tells an entirely different story about this mysterious saga of valor and treachery. The writer roamed the writer roamed around the fort talking to locals and guides for days to find an alternative version, but all were consistent in their account of the events that unfolded in the war between Khilji and Hamir. This story is being narrated only to stress the evil nature of Khilji and how the written history of today is a distortion of facts to suit the narrative of breaking India forces. In year 1300, Alauddin sent two of his eldest generals, Nusrat Khan and Ulugh Khan, to lay siege on Ranthambore. Nearly 80,000 Muslim troops of Alauddin attacked Hamir's troops, but the Muslims were completely routed in this battle. Nusrat was hit by a Manjinisk stone and killed. Amir came out of the fort and destroyed the Muslim army. Ulugh Khan survived and continued the siege by bringing in reinforcements, while Khilji himself joined him in 1301. Struck by famine due to the long siege, the Rajputs had no option left but to open the gates and fight in the open. Assisted by Virama Jaya and Muhammad Shah, Hamid took on Khilji close to the fort. It was decided that if the Rajputs lost, the women and children would commit Johar. Hamid defeated Khilji and Ulugh in the frontal battle and dispatched Ranmal, one of his generals, to convey the good news to the residents of the fort. Little did Hamid know that Ranmal had been bought over by Khilji with a promise that if Hamir was killed, he would be given the range of Ranthambore. Hmm. Ranmal and his associate Ratanpur told the queens and residents that the battle had been lost. In the meanwhile, Ranmal asked his men to open the rear gates of the fort to let Khilji's men enter. सस, क्या है नहीं बोला जाएगा
Sarep,
मेरे जीभ फिसल रही है हाँ
surreptitiously. Surreptitiously.
मेरी जीभ
Go ahead, no
फिसल रही
problem.
है बार बार हाँ
Hmm.
the family of Hamir, chief queen Ranga Devi, all other queens and general committed Johar on hearing the false news about the defeat. Hamir's daughter, named Padmala, tied herself to boulder and sank herself in a pond inside the fort. It was the first incident of Jal Johar, I think water
Hmm.
sacrifice with the, uh, anywhere in India. The
Hmm.
Padmala Talab, located in the Ranthambore fort, bears witness to that ultimate sacrifice of Princess Padmala. Hamir rushed into the fort on seeing smoke and embers rising from the pyres of Johar. He was devastated to learn about the treachery of Ranmal and his associates. Hamir publicly beheaded Ranmal and Ratanpal and then beheaded himself at the local Shiva temple. The loyal Rajputs kept on fighting without the leader till the last of them fell. Thus, Khilji captured the vital fort of Ranthambore due to the treachery of a Hindu vassal of Hamir.
Shekhar, here is
Hmm,
very one thing which is like we should be like focusing on is
hmm,
that the leadership quality. Okay, and the leadership is very important in any sphere that we walk in, whether it's war, whether it is something else, your business or your something in your house or family. So if the leadership is not there, okay, even if you have, like say, Rajputs were brave soldiers, okay, but your bravery, your skills as a swordsman, as a soldier, cannot count or will not give you the results as you desire if you don't have capable leaderships. And leadership is very rare. Good leadership is very rare, and that's why it's important for every one of us to understand that although our inherent desire to do something, okay, might be very tempting for us, but it's important that sometimes we have to do a lot of things which we do not like to do. We hate doing it, but we should be doing it considering everything put together in a positive manner, and just do it because when the instructions come from the leadership, okay, and if you accept the leadership decision, then you should not be thinking more about it, why you are doing this, because sometimes questions do more harm than good, not always, but sometimes. Yeah, Shekhar, go ahead.
hmm. The victory at Ranthambore was a major moral booster for Khilji, and he sold it to his army of mercenaries as a gift of Allah to the pious. Malik Kafur amassed huge amounts of wealth from his raids in South India and sent it to Alauddin, gradually amassing wealth and hiring an army of mercenaries. I think he's talking about the defeating
From
think Yadavas and Kakatiyas. I think they had
Kakatiyas.
to pay tribute to him.
And one more thing that is, see, there's been a like constant propaganda and constant misinformation that all the invaders who came here and they remained with us. I think Shashi Tharoor has given this statement quite a few times.
Hmm.
Okay, that no, they remain with us. They become part of us. How they become part of us? When they looted the temples, killed people in thousands, women, children, houses, everything. Okay, then took that wealth with them and gifted them to somebody else, and you become part of the land. You know what kind of logic is this people find?
I think he's describing his situation. I think ये
No, no.
ऐसा करेंगे, इसके घर पे जाएंगे हम लोग, लूट लेंगे और
Hmm,
फिर इसके घर के सदस्य बन जाएंगे, ठीक है ना, हम घर का हिस्सा
hmm,
बन जाते हैं, फिर मस्त काम हो
hmm.
जाएगा.
Yeah, I think he's talking like that. Okay, go ahead.
Alauddin set his eyes on Chittor since it was the seat of power, Hindu power in northern India. Alauddin eventually wanted to invade South India for its riches, but Chittor stood in the way, both metaphorically and literally. Chittor was not only seen as a Hindu center of power, but it controlled critical trade routes to the South India, South and Gujarat, both on its eastern as well as western borders. The story of the beauty of Rani Padmini reached Alauddin's ear through a disgruntled servant of Mewad, Raghunath, who was a bard and entertainer in the Rawal Ratan Singh's court. He has been falsely and notoriously portrayed as a Brahmin priest in Bollywood movies and trashy literature, with the aim of demeaning the priestly class as a debauchees traitor. In reality, the Brahmins of Rajasthan were the most committed Hindus, as they not only tutored the Rajputs on Hindu scriptures and values of Dharma, but many of them were warriors themselves and ran akhadas throughout Mewar to train Hindu youth in warfare. आई थिंक इसका
Yeah.
एग्जाम्पल जो है ना, इसका आपको अभी भी
Mm-hmm.
मिलता है राजस्थान का, जैसलमेर के अगर रॉयल प्रीस्ट को आप देखोगे ना, तो
Mm-hmm.
आपको लगेगा कि कोई आप रेसलर को देख रहे हो.
Let me just search the pictures.
हम्म.
Not sure whether I will get them or not.
चेक कर लो फिर भी.
Where we what I should search for?
रॉयल रॉयल प्रीस्ट है ना उसका, जैसलमेर का.
Jaisalmer Royal Priest. Okay.
आई थिंक मिल जाना चाहिए आपको.
I'm just getting the exact thing.
ट्रेडिशनल ड्रेस में होंगे वो उसमें.
Traditional. Okay, I Rajput Pravi. Here it is. There is one picture here. Let me just share the screen here. So I am opening up the. I'm sharing this trap. Okay. So this is the website called IndianRajputs.com, Jaisalmer. And
ये वाली तो नहीं नहीं, ये वाली नहीं है. अभी
not this
कंकरेंट जो
concurrent.
है ना, वो ऐसे दिखते हैं. अभी पुराने वाले नहीं पता.
अच्छा
हिस्टोरिकली वो
पुराने.
ये लोग रेसलर टाइप दिखते हैं ज्यादातर, जो होते हैं ना रॉयल
So
रॉयल प्रीस्ट.
no, but Rajput province, Jaisalmer princely state. I think they don't have a lot of pictures. They have pictures of the prince itself, princess.
नहीं, मैंने उनकी पिक्चर देखी है इसलिए बता रहा था.
अच्छा. Yeah, but
हाँ.
here in Google I can't search right now. Anyway, we will continue our reading.
हाँ.
Maybe in our next reading session we will share the pictures as well. Hold on.
In a
Let me
Bollywood movie.
wait. Let I'm just need to search. Go ahead.
In a Bollywood movie, Raghunath has been shown to be a tilak wearing debauch who was sexually drawn to Padmini. Nothing except demeaning the great Brahmin teachers could be the motives of a false portrayal. Plus, with the successes of Ranthambore and Shivana forts, Khilji laid a siege on Chittor fort in 1302. He laid the dishonorable condition for the surrender of Rajputs and acquisition of Padmini for himself in lieu of lifting the siege. Thousands of Rajputs and Hindus from surrounding kingdoms gathered around Ratan Singh to fight the jihadi invaders. A bloody battle ensued and thousands of warriors on both sides were killed. Khilji then made a overturn for peace to Ratan Singh and asked for an audience with the Rana. A lot of stories has been going around that Khilji asked for Padmini's face to be seen through a reflection in a mirror, but this hasn't been substantiated by any recorded account. Going by the history of Mewar dynasty, it is extremely unlikely that Rajputs would have yielded to Khilji's demand and the meeting was merely agreed to in order to discuss the terms of a treaty between warring kings. एक और चीज मैं बोलना चाहूंगा कि अगर आप हमारे वहाँ पे ट्रेडिशन है कि बाहर से आता है ना कोई
हम्म
तो जो फीमेल होती है ना वो नहीं जाते हैं मिलने जो होते हैं ना तो मेल ही हमेशा डिस्कस करते हैं जब तक कि आप परिवार वाले नहीं हो ना तो फीमेल आपको चाय भी देने नहीं आती है मतलब जैसे आप गेस्ट जाओगे ना दूसरे के घर पे तो वो भी मेल ही
yes
लेके आते हैं हाँ तो ये तो कुछ और ही चल रहा है यहाँ तो हाँ,
feminism
खिलजी हाँ
feminism in the 10th century.
नहीं पर रानी वहाँ डिस्कशन रानी का कोई वो है नहीं ना काम वहाँ पे आने का और आएंगे भी नहीं
हाँ
ना जो तो अजीब से वो काम कर रहे हैं लोग खिलजी true to the faith of his co-religionist sweet talked Ratan Singh and agreed to lift the siege in lieu of few gifts. Ratan Singh, his in simplicity, escorted Khilji down the fort, where Khilji revealed his true colors and abducted Ratan Singh. The only condition laid down by Khilji for Ratan Singh's return was the surrender of Padmini. He knew very well that Rajputs would never give up their queen, and that he would easily be able to defeat a leaderless, demoralized army. But Khilji was in for a nasty surprise. The beautiful queen was not merely beauty, but brains and will of a fierce warrior and a master planner herself. She planned an extrication of Ratan Singh with the Mewar nobles, led by her uncle Gora and her nephew Badal. Badal was very young, but Rajputs were expected to take on the enemy even at that tender age, and Badal lived up to the call of honor. Khilji was informed that the day he withdrew his troops from the trenches surrounding Chittor, Queen Padmini would be sent, but would be accompanied by her handmaidens. Strict demands were made by the Rajput to prevent any violation of the sanctity of the female decorum and privacy. More than 7 palanquins were recovered and dispatched to Khilji camp. Each palanquin was covered by one of the best warriors of Mewar and was to be carried by 6 armed men disguised as palanquin bearers. Half an hour was granted for the audience between Ratan Singh and Padmini. Ratan Singh and Padmini escaped in the palanquins for a few kilometers where a fleet of horses awaited them. They safely reached their fort, while 5,000 Hindu troops took positions at the outer gate to prevent Khilji's army from entering into the fort of Chittor. Armed with the noblest sentiment committed to the safety of their king Ratan Singh, and with their hearts burning with the sole desire to protect the honor of their queen, Gora and Badal wrought havoc on the Khilji troops. Thousands were killed in the battle of mutual destruction, but Mewar warriors managed to beat back the invaders comprehensively. Alauddin Khilji was thus defeated in his objective and perceiving the havocs wrought by the Rajput army, he was forced to end the siege and retreat to Delhi. Gora made the supreme sacrifice at the gate of Chittor, and very few Hindu warriors survived to make it back to the safety of the fort, including the mortally wounded boy warrior Badal. Below is an account of the conversation between Badal and his auntie, Gora's valiant wife. James Stott quotes this conversation from his epic Kumman Raso. The aunt asks Badal as to how did her lord conduct himself ere she joins him. The stripling replied, "He was the reaper of the harvest of battle. I followed his steps on the humble cleaner of his sword. On the glory bed of honor he spread a carpet of the slain. A barbarian's prince his pillow, he laid him down, and sleeps surrounded by the foe." Again she said, "Tell me, Badal, how did my lord behave?" "O mother, how further to describe his deeds when he left no foe to dread or admire him?" She smiled farewell to the boy and adding, "My lord will chill my delay," sprung into the flame. Such were the sacrifices made by our ancestors in keeping the Islamic forces at bay. Alauddin replenished his resources by plundering the rest of Rajasthan and returned to Chittor 2 years later. Mewar had not yet recovered from her losses of many of her sons, and Khilji carried out his attacks more ruthlessly this time. After months of siege, Khilji managed to obtain the hill at the southern point, where he entrenched himself. Poetic annals point to a vision that Ratan Singh saw and in which the presiding deity of Chittor came to him and said that the continuance of Rajput control over Chittor needed regal blood. Hence, 12 who wear the diadem must bleed for Chittor, else the land would pass from the line. Ratan Singh convened a midnight council of his nobles and announced his intention to carry out the advice of the divine vision. 12 sons and nephews of Ratan Singh were lined up, and it was decided that each of them would lead the final assault. One by one, 11 princes, including the eldest Amir Singh, was martyred thus in the 3 days of Mewar's frontal assault on Khilji. On the third night, Ratan Singh's favorite son, Karan Singh, was made to escape from the northern gates to the safety of Kailwada. On the fourth day, Ratan Singh proclaimed, "I give myself to Chittor now." But with that proclamation, a horror was to be unleashed on the soul of Bharat. In 1303, beautiful, beautiful Padmini, along with thousands of brave women entrenched inside Chittor, were to perform Johar by giving themselves to the Agni or the fire to escape captivity by the Mlechas. Funeral pyre was lit within the great subaltern retreat in chambers impervious to
Subterranean.
light. Hmm, subterranean. The defenders of Chittor beheld with a strong heart the procession of queens, their own wives and daughters walking to their moksha. Husbands put sindoor on the foreheads of their wives on one last time. The the woman in whose embrace men had scaled heights of love and ecstasy, क्या बोलते हैं? Looked at each
Ecstasy.
other one last time. क्या बोलते हैं?
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy, हाँ. अब मेरा जीभ फिसल जाती है बोलने में. Every man was helpless and yet free. Helpless that he won't be able to save his family. Free that at least his family would not be enslaved by stinking barbarians. Fathers would have kissed the foreheads of their tender daughters for the last time. Their being would have been reverberated with the scent of their beloved girls. Young children would have looked quizzling at their fathers when they were being led to their mothers, being tied to their mothers. Every Hindu woman would have taken blessings from the priest, Goras, Gurus, and Charans, so that courage doesn't doesn't desert them in that moment of trial. Men and gurus would have been emptied their faces of all signs of weakness, lest the last journey of their beloved and their children be painful. Not 100, 2 or 300, thousands of men and their families were undergoing this horrific ordeal. In the lust for freedom and self respect, life, relation, compassion, love, attachment, all was rendered insignificant and meaningless. The fair Padmini closed that tongue, augmented by every female beauty or youth that could be tainted by vicious Tartar lust. I think ये Tartar थोड़ी थे,
No,
है
I
ना?
think Tatars, no, yeah, ये Tatar नहीं थे, but Tatars were a kind of a symbol of actually violence and it's a symbolic word for looters, of people who
अच्छा अच्छा
do violence. तो उस तरह से इस्तेमाल किया गया है.
अच्छा द
नहीं,
ग्लोरियस वुमन ऑफ मेवाड़.
टर्किक्स जो
हाँ
है ना,
बोलो.
टर्किक्स के
हम्म.
लिए टाटार भी यूज़ करते हैं, सिनोनिम्स
पर
है।
वो तो रशियन रीजन में यूज नहीं करते.
नीचे मतलब साउथ में भी यूज़ करते हैं, जो साउथ सेंट्रल एशिया है।
अच्छा. द
So
ग्लोरियस
correct.
वुमन ऑफ मेवाड़.
There is, yeah,
हाँ बोलो.
Shekhar. There is actually a proverb. Correct, na? You have been caught by a Tatar. So Tatar, although they were like a kind of a like a beastly invading race who would do plunder as a living. So the word Tatar is become a kind of proverb that you have been caught by a Tatar. It means somebody who will catch you and never leave you until you are dead.
हाँ,
So
अच्छा अच्छा
in that relationship, it became it's used as a proverb, not as a ethnic identity as such.
अच्छा अच्छा.
in Europe,
द
actually they
ग्लोरियस.
use this word Tatar yoke. That is for the Mongols actually. They call the Mongols also Tatar there.
हाँ हाँ वो बोलते तो थे. आई थिंक ये जो सदर्न रशिया है ना वहाँ वो लोग वहाँ पे थे ना तभी बोलते थे ये लोग.
हाँ,
होड्स में
Yes,
आते थे ना इसलिए.
yes, the invading hordes of army. Go ahead.
The glorious woman of Mewar entered the caravan to be devoured by flame, thus saving them from dishonor by the invaders. As they burned in the sacred flames, instead of surrendering to the brute lust, our amazing ancestors chose to be permanently destroyed in the safety of the blazing flames of Johar that day. To give one's body to the fury of fire is not an easy choice by any standards. What age and wear and tear would have worn out anyway was wilfully surrendered to fire on that glorious day of Johar. The beautiful queen Padmini chose the extremely painful path of turning her fair skin into blisters of blood by self immobilization because the barbarians from Afghanistan had left her no choice in the matter. It was the feminine audacity of a woman with a steely resolve to refuse submission to the Tartar invader, a woman who denied him the option of laying eyes even on her dead body. That is why the greatest queen Padmini of Chittor, alongside 20,000 of her loyal maid friends and ordinary citizens of Chittor, choose to close the doors in the face of ruthless debauchers who had no value for the delicate and the pristine. In those subterranean retreats in the rocks of Chittor Fort, the Hindu woman of Mewar conveyed the cleanest and most direct message to the Islamic invaders and the fellow Hindus that honor and freedom are non-negotiable. By that one act of Johar, Maharani Padmini ossified the Hindu-Muslim struggle in the subcontinent, and all the chances of coexistence with the alien forces were put to flame in those embers rising out of Johar. If the Tartars wanted to subjugate our wheel by force, that was not going to happen. The onus of fighting this bunch of uh, murderers was passed on to the successive generations by that singular act of Johar on that glorious day when Queen Padmini rose to the pedestal of Amra, Amaravatta and immortality. Maharani Padmini of Chittor will remain alive in the hearts of the great people of this land till the last Hindu is alive. Alauddin Khilji, finding nothing but the ashes of the object of his lust, went berserk with rage and ordered a general plunder and slaughter of Chittor. 30,000 civilians and soldiers were killed on uh, 26 August 1303. आई थिंक ये जो अकबर वाला जो चित्तौड़ में हुआ था मैसेकर वो सबको याद रहता है पर नहीं वो भी आई थिंक कम लोगों पर ये वाला सब भूल जाते हैं जो चित्तौड़ में हुआ था कि उस टाइम भी सेम 30,000 के आसपास उस टाइम भी मरे थे जब अकबर आया था।
हाँ, तो मेरे ख्याल से हमारे जो महान लेखक हैं शशि थरूर, क्या उन्होंने ये नहीं पढ़ा है कि उनको भी लस्ट है पावर का और राजनीति का।
मिल गए ना वो चित्तौड़ से, आई थिंक इनको मारने के बाद में वो मिल गए चित्तौड़ में।
अच्छा,
हाँ। Thus, after withstanding the Islamic heat for 600 years, fell the greatest seat of Hindu resistance to the Islamic invaders 1303 to the most merciless and cold-blooded invaders this nation has ever witnessed. Khilji bore a striking resemblance to Aurangzeb, both in success and the bigoted zeal to spread his religion by force. He named himself Sikandar-e-Sani, or the Second Alexander, and even minted coin using this title. Khilji plundered every building and temple of grandeur that stood in Chittor over the next few days. Having committed every act of barbarity and wanton destruction, overthrowing every temple and monument of art, he handed over the forts to his son Khir Khil
खिजिर खान,
Khijir and left to ravage the rest of Rajasthan. The proud Ahulwara, the ancient Dhars and Avanti, Mandor and Deogir, the seats of Solankis, Parmars and Pratiharas, the entire Agnikul races were overturned forever by Alauddin Khilji. Jaisalmer, Gagran, Bondi, Jalore suffered the horrors of assault from this foe of Hindus. It was only because of the resilience and the inner grit of the Rajputs that within decades of being ravaged so brutally by an enemy like Khilji, almost all of them rose again to fight the evil forces of Islamic imperialism. Khilji had taught the Rajputs bitter lessons in warfare and religious hatred. The soft-hearted, just and victorious principles of war were of no use against this killing machine of jihad. And as the coming centuries would prove, Rajputs learned their lesson well. As the hordes of invaders kept pouring into India from the western border, the Hindus of India, led by Maharanas of Mewad, kept fighting and defeating them. The northern and northwestern frontiers of our land faced onslaught from invaders of all hosts, ranging from Khiljis to Tughlaqs and Sayyids to Lodhis to Mughals. Each one encountered overwhelming resistance from the royal house of Mewar under the Sisodia family, always standing tall, raising the saffron flag and their insurmountable spirit of freedom. It was the supreme act of willful sacrifice by the great Queen Padmini and her cohorts in Chittor that provided fuel to the children of Mewar to never give in to the brutal force of invaders. Karan Singh, the son of Ratan Singh, found refuge in the hills of Khailwara and started building an army to regain Chittor. Karan had two sons, Rahab and Mahab. The elder Mahab went to Dungarpur and annexed it. The younger Rahab was a fierce warrior and settled in the village Sisod, hence the name Sisodiyas for the descendants of his clan. Rahab, along with his father Karan, was killed in the war to reclaim Chittor. But the fight for Chittor never ended. 9 generations of Sisodiyas were lost in a short span of 3 decades in an attempt to reclaim Chittor. The torch was passed on from one generation to the next until Chittor was ultimately reclaimed by Bhuvan Singh after a fierce fight. Thus ends the story of the first takeover of Chittor by the death cult of desert and the sacrifices to reclaim it. How it was regained by the valorous sons of Mewar. The memory, facts, and truth of the sage have kindled many imaginary tales of valor and romance in the folklores of Rajasthan over the centuries. But none can deny the fact that there was a fair, beautiful, intelligent, valorous Queen Padmini who committed the first recorded Johar in the history of Rajputs. She thus laid the grounds for an irreconcilable reconcilable conflict between Islamic design of capturing Kafir women and the Hindu design to remain free for centuries to come. A conflict which is well and truly on even to this day, apart in a different context with Mered's connotation. Maharani Padmini still embodies that undying Hindu spirit to not yield to force in matters of honor and freedom. We are truly blessed to have heirs and bearers of a legacy of that amazing queen and her brave king Raval Ratan Singh. It is now up to us to continue that struggle kindled by the supreme sacrifice of Queen Padmini, who threw herself to the flames, to never capitulate to molesters and murderers.
Okay. We are going to we will read the chapter 5 in our next reading session. Ninar, we have Ninar with us. Ninar, you have something
Yes.
to share with us?
Not on this bit.
Yeah, but go ahead. You can, if you have something to say, please go ahead.
No, I didn't have much to add. I think aside from that, what already Shekhar spoke of.
Okay. If anybody else wants to join, we are going to open up the stream. So people who want to join, you can join and discuss something if you had. It can be current topic, it can be something historical things. So whatever is there that you would like to contribute, you can do it. Yeah, Shekhar. So your thoughts on this chapter 4, and how do you see that the a kind of propaganda, a kind of misinformation, the kind of narrative which was built over the years, okay, to create, to whitewash the marauders, to whitewash the bloodthirsty, lustful death cult, which the author says that how they have been made into a kind of a brave, lovely soldiers doing very good things.
I think they mainly try to diminish the sacrifices of our ancestors in this context, and they were trying to romanticize the whole the invasion thing. No, like मुझे वो पसंद है इसलिए मैं उसको इन्वेड कर रहा हूँ उसको लेने के लिए लाइक मूवीज में नहीं होता उसको रोमांटिसाइज किया जाता है जैसे कोई किसी को कोई वुमन पसंद है तो उसके बाप से जाके
Hmm,
लड़ेगा वो उसके पिताश्री
hmm,
से
hmm,
जाके लड़ेगा तो
hmm.
सेम चीज यहाँ
Yes.
पे वो करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं रोमांटिस उसको पूरा जो सिचुएशन है इन्वेजन को उसको रोमांटिसाइज करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और जो सेक्रीफाइसेस और जो रेसिस्टेंस प्रोवाइड किया उसको डिमिनिश कर रहे हैं कि क्या रेसिस्ट कर रहे हो क्यों कर रहे हो रेसिस्ट हो जो वो बोल रहा है ना कि तुम पसंद हो तो फिर चले जाओ ना ऐसा तो मतलब पूरे जो नैरेटिव है उसको स्पिन ऑफ किया जा रहा है कि तुम्हारे पास बुद्धि नहीं है तुम खुद की वैल्यू नहीं जानते हो वो आ रहा है तुम्हें वो वैल्यू प्रोवाइड करेगा ठीक है ना उसने तुम्हारी वैल्यू समझी है तो तुम्हें उसको ज्वाइन करना चाहिए बेसिकली ये इस एपिसोड में चैप्टर 4 में तो यही बेसिकली वो पता चल रहा है कि इन लोगों ने क्या करने की कोशिश की थी आप अगर मूवी में भी देखोगे ना तो जो नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशंस ब्राह्मण्स के लिए जो एक तरह से पोर्ट्रेट किया जा रहा है ना वो भी आपको दिखेगा कि मतलब
Uh,
बेसिकली ऑल इवल ऑफ सोसाइटीज आर टू बी ब्लेम्ड
hmm.
ऑन ब्राह्मण्स बाकी सब
Yes,
कोई है
yes,
ही नहीं
yes,
मतलब
yes, yes.
और
तो यहाँ
मुस्लिम्स
पर
को फ्री करने आए थे हमें
या और यहाँ तो दीदी भी है, एचपी दीदी. तो दीदी, यू कैन डू रिएक्शन वीडियो on the movie and the book itself. It would be a good actually kind of thing to show कि जिन्होंने मूवी देखी उन्होंने बुक बुक तो पढ़ी होगी नहीं कभी उन लोगों ने, so they will get to know the real history rather than the fictional account which is shown there.
Aside from that, I wanted to ask Shekhar, doesn't it sound like this kind of, I think, a romance story they're trying to copy that Prithviraj Chauhan one, where he was looking for, I think, Jayachandra's daughter, no?
ये आई थिंक ये वाला मुझे इंसिडेंट नहीं पता है, पृथ्वीराज के बारे में मैंने इतना पढ़ा नहीं है तो पता नहीं, पर अगर ऐसा है तो आई थिंक नहीं, पर ये कोई बहुत कॉमन
एक जॉनर बन
ट्रोप
गया
है
था
ये जो है
ऐसा।
ना, नहीं बहुत कॉमन ट्रोप है ना, उसमें भी वो वही कर रहे थे आई थिंक। बेटी के लिए तो आई थिंक इतना नहीं होता था वॉर्स, हमारे यहाँ पे जहां तक मैंने देखा है
हाँ,
वुमन को लेके इतना वॉर नहीं
नहीं,
होता था।
Jayachandra did not want Prithviraj to marry his daughter, but there was like a whole story behind it that he came in his court as the only person or something. I forgot the exact thing, and they eloped and
उसके
all
ऊपर
that.
भी उसके ऊपर ट्रोप क्रिएट करने की कोशिश की थी क्या वहां पे भी, कि वो ओरिजिनल स्टोरी है तुम बता रहे हो?
नहीं, वो रियल नहीं है, पृथ्वीराज आश्रम में है, रियल नहीं है।
हाँ हाँ, नहीं ये काफी कॉमन है ना, आपको दूसरी जगह भी काफी जगह पे मिलती है ना, अगर आप वेस्टर्न मूवीज देखो या वेस्टर्न सीरीज में भी देखो तो वहां पे जो वही जो कॉमन ट्रॉप वहां से मिलता है ना, वो यहाँ पे ये लोग पेस्ट करने की कोशिश करते हैं, क्योंकि वहां पे वुमन को लेके बहुत ज्यादा वॉर्स होती थी ना, वो वो सिनेरियो वो हर जगह कॉपी पेस्ट करने की कोशिश करते हैं, उनको लगता है पूरी दुनिया सेम ही है, क्योंकि उनके
अच्छा,
हिसाब से तो
उतना
यूरोपियन
रिसेंट
हिस्ट्री
नहीं है
वर्ल्ड की
क्योंकि
हिस्ट्री है।
ये स्टोरी काफी पुरानी है, पृथ्वीराज वाली, और हिंदू नहीं लिखी
हम्म,
है।
Okay,
ऐसा
now
जरूर नहीं है ना कि सारे सच।
we are going to take a few comments. There are a few good comments which came. So I think this is a good, interesting comment made by Retrowave. Just one good comment. Yeah. So I reckon we need to study Middle Eastern history to learn how these Middle Eastern tribes got consolidated. Then they started two crusades in the west and one in the east. Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
कौन से वाले की बात करो, क्रिश्चियनिटी की?
Yes, yes, the crusades. See,
पर क्रूसेड्स तो काफी सारी की थी ना उन्होंने, क्रूसेड तो आई थिंक।
हाँ, तो it was like both ways ना. Sometimes the Muslims would occupy it, then the in Europe in Christians they would come again. So it was like a back and forth going on for centuries.
नहीं वो तो लेटेस्ट एपिसोड है क्रूसेड्स का, पर क्रूसेड तो काफी पहले से चल रही है, आई थिंक 4th-5th सेंचुरी से चल रही है क्रूसेड्स तो। वो पहले पेगन्स के खिलाफ होती थी तो उसको क्रूसेड नहीं बोलते थे, मतलब उसको उसका जो सिग्निफिकेंस है वो डिमिनिश कर देते थे, पर ये जो थे ना ये तो लास्ट क्रूसेड्स थे, ये जो यहाँ मिडिल ईस्ट में हुए हैं।
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah, retrowave. So I think the author mentions actually enough references. Okay, but the problem would be references that it becomes very academic book and people don't read it. So it is the intention of the book is to actually tell the real story of what happened and then also give the references so that those are people who want to discover more, they can go and read more academic books. How many people we read our history books in school because they are academically written. So the idea is not to actually write a 1,000-page book with references for 2 or 3 pages and nobody would read it. The idea is to actually get the audience the history and tell them that okay, these are the references. Write short chapters where you in summarize what has happened with proper references and names, and then people who are interested in reading more about them, they can go and read more academic books to find out exactly those references. So you have one academic history and you also have a like a general history. So general history would not contain a lot of references because or else the book would be as big as Vikram Sampat's Tipu Sultan. So you can replace it as your dumbbell. Yeah, so I think we don't have a lot of questions. So we will end the stream today. We will again, and for people who are just so this week we plan to have the author. Let me just see. So we plan to have the author of this book, the original Lynch Mob, by Dev Singh Khattu. So he will be joining us for a live session where he'll discuss his book and his contents. And we also plan to have few more authors come in the coming weeks and also few interesting programs. So do keep in tuned, and if you haven't subscribed, do give a like and subscribe to our channel so that you can get a notification for our live streams with authors, interactions, and booking sessions in coming days and weeks. So thank you, Shekhar, and thank you, Nina, for joining us. And once again, this is the link. Let me just share the screen and give where you can buy the book. So if you can hear, I have the books here, the Hindi version and the English version both with me. These are signed copies, and this is where you get maharanas.com. You can go there. You can buy the
आ,
book directly
अच्छा,
here. Yeah, bolo.
हाँ, मैं एक कमेंट है अभी उसने किया अबे ने,
Mm-hmm.
वो हाईलाइट करना, वो बर्न वाला जो है।
Okay, poison wala.
नहीं नहीं, उसके ऊपर वाला जो बर्न करके है
They
ना।
could not have consumed poison. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah,
हाँ,
yeah.
तो ये स्पेसिफिकली उन्होंने ऐसा क्यों किया है, ये आपको पाकिस्तान जाके देखना चाहिए।
Hmm.
वहां पे मरने के बाद भी बॉडीज के साथ में क्या होता है, वो वहां जाके आप देखो, पता चलेगा आपको। वो 2 हफ्ते तक वहां पे जो पेरेंट्स होते हैं लड़की के, वो गार्ड, बॉडी गार्ड बन के बैठे रहते ग्रेव के ऊपर, क्योंकि वो जो है, जो ग्रेव रॉबर्स आते हैं, वो बॉडी को चुरा के फिर क्या करते हैं उसके साथ में, आप समझ लो। ठीक है, तो वो फिर वो बर्निंग ही ऑप्शन था आपके पास में, ऑप्शन था ही नहीं दूसरा कुछ, क्योंकि ये इनका ट्रेडिशनल बिहेवियर है। क्या करते हैं ये, मरने के बाद भी छोड़ेंगे नहीं आपको, आपकी बॉडी को भी नहीं छोड़ेंगे।
Yeah, so that's why it's called a death cult. Even after death, they will not leave you. Yeah, I think it was a good, quick reading session. I think it's a very interesting book that we are reading. Yeah. दीदी आई मुझे पता है पर we cannot search it here. So वरना प्रॉब्लम होगी. So we know it how what it happens, but we cannot say it here loud and clearly to everyone. But people understand. If you can go and search uh, Pakistan Hindu atrocities and what happens, you will know how grave robbers of Pakistan and Hindus. If you search, you will get the whole story in Google itself. Yeah, but दीदी रिक्वेस्ट टू यू. हाँ दीदी रिक्वेस्ट टू यू कि इस पर एक आप रिएक्शन स्ट्रीम करना उस मूवी और इस बुक के रेफरेंसेस से. आई थिंक वो काफी अच्छा होगा. तो एक्चुअली जिन्होंने ये बुक नहीं पढ़ी, जिन्होंने मूवी देखी है और वो करते हैं रोमांटिसाइज, दैट वुड बी अ गुड थिंग. Okay, Shekhar. So thank you, Nina. Thank you, Shekhar, for your time for reading the book. It's really appreciate you are finding time to read the book. Shekhar has the book. I have the book. So in the coming reading sessions, we are going to choose one of the subscribers, and we are going to give this English or Hindi version. This is a signed copy. So whatever copies you see here, it is signed by the author himself. So this is signed copy that I have. You can also get a signed copy. If you go to the site maharanas.com, you will be able to get the signed copy from the author itself. And so it's a really quick read. You will know the story, but if you still want to explore more, you can find other academic books which will give you a lot of references on these. Thank you, Neenar. Thank you, Shekhar, for your time. And we'll see you in coming days and weeks with the further sessions on reading.
धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद।